and yet the Congress has failed in its duty to check it. In fact, it's apparent the President is almost contumacious in his dealings with the Congress, or lack of dealings with the Congress is probably more accurate. And this is adding to the growing sense of helplessness in the Republican leadership that it can even fulfill its duties to try and check this presidential outrage. So the current urgency to immigration amnesty is probably the growing pressure from the success of this administration's Middle Eastern policy or non-policy, and its aiding and abetting of the so-called Arab Spring that is rapidly turning the Middle East into killing field. Certainly, if they could get in, the rapid influx of millions and millions of Muslims into this country would be the ultimate dream of the Muslim Brotherhood, wouldn't it? Yes. All right, now let's get down to the working level. Now that we've gone through that happy time. Unfortunately, Speaker Boehner has been clear that he's okay with amnesty as long as some fig leaf can be constructed to cover it for the Republicans. And remember, any immigration-related bill that is passed by the House will then be sent to a conference committee with the Senate. And the House members that are appointed to that conference committee will be appointed by Boehner. So any immigration bill, no matter how good it sounds, will go to conference committee because the Senate Gang of Eight bill is the one, the companion in the House, in the Senate. So it'll go to a conference committee, and those people will all be appointed by Boehner, which means that what's going to come out of the conference committee back to the House will include the Gang of Eight amnesty. Just plan on it. May have some fig leaves, but that's what it'll be. Now, Pete, to his credit, has promised, after much badgering by us, to invoke the Hastert Rule. I don't know if you all know what that is. It came about in the middle 90s, and it was really an attempt by the Speaker to kind of keep everybody together, and the Hastert Rule is an unwritten rule. It's really more of a custom. And it says that before the Rules Committee would let anything go to the floor, you have to have a majority of the majority party vote in favor. Okay? And Pete said that he would vote for the Hastert Rule, although we had to really badger him to get him to say that. And whether or not you believe he would do that for a rule that for a bill that John Boehner is trying hard to pass is a matter of conjecture. Tenuous might be the word that I think of. But it's even more tenuous because of the discharge petition. Now this is another interesting rule that overrides anything that you can do unofficially as a Hastert Rule. The discharge petition that exists in the House says that if just a simple majority of the House says that they want a bill to come to the floor, he can't block it in the Rules Committee. It comes out and onto the floor. What does this mean? Well, you got to have 218 congressmen to vote for the discharge petition. And how many Democrats are in the House right now? 201. You only need 17 Republicans, and the discharge petition trumps. So, this is not good. This is not good at all. And you can say, well, if they really did have some safeguards in there, what about it? Well, keep in mind that throughout all of this, the administration has already set numerous precedents that it can and will flagrantly violate the Constitution and simply vacate, i.e. not enforce, any portion of the law they don't like. Equally clearly and more dangerously, the Congress has already demonstrated that it will not pursue that constitutional violation. And so fig leaf rules can be inserted into the final bill to make it more palatable to the Republican congressman and then simply tossed aside by the president insofar as enforcement. And our congressmen will be shocked to find out that this has happened. Well, what does a fig leaf baby look like? Well, I remember Pete said he's against amnesty. But then he also said that for those who can pass a background check that are already here and not dangerous, there can be a pathway to citizenship. For our definitional purposes tonight, let us say that sounds a lot like a fig leaf. And let us say that that exemption allows an illegal to become legal without going through the existing rules that anyone else must pass. And so therefore is amnesty. And once people have legal status, keep this in mind, once people have legal status, not citizenry, just legal status, courts will probably decide that they have standing in courts, and therefore all these questions of citizenship will pass completely out of the purview of the Congress and into the courts. So, what's the answer? Well, quite frankly, the answer is don't pass any immigration bill at all to start the conference. In conclusion, in every one of these issues we've discussed tonight, Benghazi, in defunding Obamacare, in illegal immigration and amnesty, in every single one of these issues at stake is the rule of law because of the actions of the president, because of the actions or inaction of the Congress, on and on and on. Perjury now happens all the time. Refusal to answer subpoena happens all the time. Refusal to enforce legitimate laws in the country and picking and choosing what you want to do happens all the time. And there is no downside. There is no penalty. Whether this Congress is going to hold the administration accountable is now almost becoming a moot point. We've almost demonstrated that won't happen. And the Congress is now at risk of making itself irrelevant by not holding the president accountable to the rule of law. So, questions to Pete Sessions. Will you immediately expend all of your efforts to allow a floor vote on the question of appointing a select committee to get to the bottom of Benghazi, determine what laws were broken or what dereliction of duty was committed, and who should answer at law for the illegality of the actions? Will you promise to vote against any continuing resolution that doesn't defund Obamacare? And will you promise to stop any immigration bill or immigration-related bill from passing the House during the 113th Congress? There is no a yes vote on all of these. Okay. I went ahead and went through it. If we would like to have some discussion, was worried about the time. We're getting right to the edge. Here is contact information for Pete. We can send this out if we got it. And I see Wade, you've got your hand up. Yes, sir.
Just for a correction, I know that you know this. I think the Commissioner spoke. Pete Sessions didn't actually say he was for a pathway to citizenship. What he said is that he was for a legal status. And he does not consider that amnesty, even though I think that everyone in here would consider that amnesty. I know that he knows that, so I just want to make sure that for the record we're on.
How does he legally make that charge that that's not amnesty?
Well, it's just the way he defines it. And it's not
because the rule of law, there's definition. How is that added up? I mean, apparently that's
It doesn't
difference anymore, but I'd just like him to make a delineation between those two.
I think that's the question we have to ask.
Is the difference of what is? Are we back to Clinton again?
Apparently. I see Virginia here.
My name is Virginia Botan, and I'm going to speak as an immigration lawyer, as an immigrant, because I came here as a political refugee. I will say we try all to talk to Pete Sessions and make him understand if Obamacare will destroy the structure of this country, from capitalist to socialist. The immigration with the amnesty will break the spirit of the American people, because this country was built on laws and was built on welcoming immigrants and making them accommodate to the culture of the United States of America, now imposing as an immigrant your rule in the United States or changing the United States of America.
Amen.
This law, I cannot tell you how many clients of mine who respected the law and waited in line are against this future amnesty. But I will say that we tried, and I am so sorry that Pete Sessions is not here, because I know that if he will be here, he will stare in my eyes and he will try to convince me that I am wrong. But I do remember the last time when he looked straight into my eyes. Instead of being afraid, in my mind, I remember what Ted Cruz said: don't blink, don't blink. Say, if we think that the Congress doesn't do anything, the Supreme Court didn't do anything with Obamacare or something, I still believe that there is power in us. We have the opportunity, each one of us, to do something and make people aware wherever we are, with calling, our representative, going on Facebook, doing whatever it takes, because
Signs on overpasses.
yes, exactly. Because, like I said, if Obamacare destroys the structures of this country, the amnesty destroys the spirit. This is what is very important to this country. Thank you.
Something that Sarah Palin said at the CPAC 2012 speech. At this level, what she said, this level is too late to learn it. And Pete Sessions is at a level right now where he knows what to do. And he doesn't need to learn what to do. He already knows what to do. And he's not doing what we the people want him to do. So he just needs to go.
And about illegal immigration and amnesty, it is a national security objective. Because in the refugees, even if they come out of these other foreign countries, you have to remember, they will have 10 wives, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, they all come with them. And this is going to cause a drastic effect on this country. And you need to keep that in mind as well. And golly, do I need to leave and come back in without my ID for credible fear? Maybe I'll get free benefits.
Okay. Well, I think at least the employers have spoken.
Hey, Mark, I just wanted to make a comment on Obamacare and the other people that are exempt from Obamacare, and illegal aliens are exempt from Obamacare.
And Muslims too.
That's true. All right, one more quick one, and then we got
What
to
about their health care?
I'm a devoted listener to the Alex Jones Show for the last 7 years. Every day I listen to live and rebroadcast. Late last week and through the weekend and earlier this week, along with Jerome Corsi of WorldNetDaily.com, they exposed the fact that Obama apparently sent several $100,000 to the Muslim Brotherhood through the Cairo embassy, and this is documented now. It's all over the web. And it's coming out apparently with a case that the Egyptian government's going to be taking against the Muslim Brotherhood over Egypt soon, and it's all going to be exposed.
Okay, I want to thank a number of people who worked very hard to try to make this evening come about. A whole bunch of folks from Ken Mandelson, Scott Franklin, Wade Miller, certainly the White Star Consultants, John Lehman and his group, Fellowship Church. I just thank all of you all. I'm very, very sorry our employee didn't show up. I don't want this to be a bash the employee type deal. I don't want people to walk out of here and think that was the point. The point, hopefully, was to give a very clear message from the employer to the employee, what he needs to do if he wants to bring up his performance rating. Then, our responsibility, if the employee simply decides he doesn't want to, and that is his choice. But then we, as responsible employers, need to consider the terms of his employment. Thank you all very much.